That's my experience
That's
with
it. No,
running.
it's a sex
So
scene
you
with
taste
your
blood.
own belly, like when you taste blood.
That's yeah. So yeah, jogging is great.
Yeah, no,
That's
no, no.
fun.
It's healthy. That's Hey guys, it's John Sello. Hi, how are you? Welcome to the show. Hey, my guest is really cool and we're chatting, so I'm just going to bring him on here. I give you Troy Duran. Da-da-da-da. Did I say it right?
Hey,
Is it Duran? Is that
yeah, that's perfect.
yeah,
That's
excellent.
perfect.
Dude,
I don't know why
me
there's like a I think oh yeah, so my wife, she has me down in her phone as Troy Duran, and Siri comes up with some weird way to say my name. I'm like, of all the names of all the ways you could pronounce my name, why would you choose to pronounce it Duran? But Siri
well,
thinks it's Duran, but although
Siri
I
think
guess like,
well, it's
yeah,
Duran Duran is what it is. It's Duran Duran, right? That's what you think
well,
of.
so the funny thing is, I think so Duran Duran. I remember there was like an MTV thing or something where Simon LeBon goes, "Hello, it's Simon LeBon from Duran Duran." They're like, "How? What the
What?
hell?
Oh,
Where'd
you
you get that
motherfucker.
from?" So I think that Duran Duran is the bad guy from like he's either from a James Bond movie or from Flash Gordon.
Dude.
Duran, but
He's got
it's
to be
spelled
French. It's got to be
G-U-R-A-N.
that's French. If I've ever heard
Yeah,
French in my fucking
yeah.
life, that's French. Fuck that.
There's a
Um,
bunch of Durans. Like there's Durant. Like so, if it's Durand, it's um, French. If it's
okay.
Durant, it's Irish. No, I'm not talking to you.
Mine does
Hey,
the same
does
thing. Yeah, yeah.
does Siri do that to you?
Well,
Does she do
so
that to you when you're
I
like narrating?
we have the one that starts with a G, and I say Voldemort is what I say because if that we
Oh yeah.
refer to it as Voldemort until you really need it, then you can say the word. But other than that, you got to say
Right.
Voldemort around here. Um,
Oh, okay.
but my fire alarm goes because I have a, little CBD vape that I've just fallen in love with. I've quit
Okay.
smoking, and this is a great thing. It's a great My smoke alarm though is right here. That was a bad
Your vape
decision.
trips it off, huh?
It's just enough. And it's really,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to do it right now because it'll go off. Then my phone will go off to tell me that my smoke alarm is going off because
That's got to
it's like
be
the Nest.
that will yeah, what a mood killer. So you're like you're smoking your vape and you're like in the middle of a sex scene and you're like, that's right, baby.
Because
And then
that's what I
the
do.
next thing you know, your alarm goes off and you're like, motherfucker.
Well, I picture you now because I know you're having some whiskey today. So I picture you
Mhm.
with like a cigar and you got the whiskey and you like
Mm,
say it as sexy and you got like the deep. Hey, by the way, I was gonna normally I read intros to. So here's what I was, but at
mm.
the end of it, I pulled up Tantor's site. You've done like 200 books with Tantor, which is that might be a record. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I've got a bunch with well, so Tantor actually is like my first. I have a real like a soft spot in my heart for Tantor because before Tantor found me, I was actually I think that that bio is just old. I think the bio says 200, but I think I'm almost a 500.
Sure,
But
that's a lot of books. By the way, it says one click, sex on a stick, instant O, and fire. That's descriptions of your voice. I like the instant O myself. Please go ahead.
nice. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That would be cool. Wouldn't it be cool to, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you'll never know, but wouldn't it be cool to like have an idea of how many times you have assisted um, in the creation of the little death for your listeners? Wouldn't that be so cool?
I do I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I do another show, and it's called The
Hmm.
Ramblin' Gremlin Show. And The Ramblin' Gremlin Show, me and a friend of mine, a gal by the name of Alyssa Gremlin, we list out all the specifically MM romance audiobooks that have released in the last week. And we just do a
Okay.
quick listing of this came out, it's by this author and this narrator. And there's
Mhm.
typically 30 or so releases in our industry, 20 or 30 a week.
Yeah.
Then she does a review of whatever she's listened to. She's a very big audiobook fan
Hmm.
and she gives them a rating. And they're
She's a
the
real sweetheart too.
yeah,
I've chatted with her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you aware of the bullet rating system that she has going on? It's a bullet. There's one
Oh,
bullet,
really?
two bullets, three bullets, four bullets, and then five bullets, then a bullet breaker,
Wow.
which means that Amazon has to show up at your house afterwards with a package with another bullet. I think
Nice.
now.
I like
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty
Yeah.
solid.
That is very cool.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I
wonderful.
like
Yeah.
that. It's
Um,
really, that's really neat. But anyway, yeah, so speaking of Tantor, I just did an MM with Tantor. Um, it was called Despite It All. I guess I can't really talk about it much because I didn't get permission from Tantor, but it's an MM and it's a part of a
nice.
big series that's going on. But yeah, so like when Tantor found me, I had like 20 titles under my belt, and which is funny because like for I don't know 5 years or so, my bio on Tantor said Troy Duran has over 20, books under his belt, and it was like I think I was up to like 200 or 300 by then. But yeah, they just like they were the first big publisher or producer to like hire me to do audiobooks, and they're really a great organization. I love
They've
them.
been absolutely wonderful to me. They got
Mhm.
me quite a few opportunities. I found them, they found me. I don't really. It was like later in. I started in 2012, 2013, somewhere in there, and
Mhm.
worked indie in a bubble. I didn't even
Mhm.
really know that other people existed. And I'd run
Yeah.
into a small publisher for Romance specifically. And I
Mm.
was working a lot of those contracts, and I was working some, and I had a lot of actors here in the studio that were working for me that were doing a lot more of them, and it was awesome. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't get into Tantor until 2017, 18, somewhere
Okay.
in there. So it's been the last 4 or 5 years, and they've really taken a stand into the Romance stuff that I do a lot of. I see
Mhm.
you've worked for AEVIA, I believe.
Yeah.
There was a couple
Oh
others too
man,
that I recognized.
she's got some pretty
Saucy's
you
the
know
word you're looking for.
yeah, anytime you get with an AEVIA, like, okay, shit's gonna go down, where like you don't know what's gonna happen. We've got vampires and shifters and werewolves and witches and warlocks, and it's but I mean it's really well like speaking of like the bullet rating system, I would give her a 5 bullet rating system. She writes really good sex scenes.
She's a trip too. See,
Yeah.
have you ever I've just chatted with her briefly.
Hmm.
She's a hell of a nice lady. She's
Yeah.
also I'm not sure if this is polite, but she's watched the show before I know.
Hmm.
Ravishingly gorgeous, I believe, would be one other description of her in
Really?
person. She's a incredibly
Wow.
beautiful woman.
Huh.
It's a little off-putting. She's that attractive.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Like nobody this pretty should be that good at writing. I mean, you should be good at one thing or another.
yeah, she's and just very very quick witted, really nice person, and a joy to
Hmm.
be around. And she's a really popular author. Reese Knightley, there was another one that I'd recognize in
Okay,
here that
yeah.
you've done some
Hmm.
work for. So you've done a bit of the Romance. It looks like you're
Hmm.
doing a lot of the MF romance as well in here. Just scrolling down, it goes on and on and on, and it looks like they're using you on the cover for a lot of these too, with your shirt off and just flexing.
Totally,
Yeah, that's a
totally.
pretty good side gig you got
I
going on.
Yeah, I was like looking at myself in the like in my there's the camera thing of me, and I'm like, oh man, I need to like pull my shirt down so I don't look like such a tub. And my shirts fit tight now, but it's not because I'm jacked. It's because I'm fatter now. Like I keep getting fatter. I've been running poorly,
Dude,
but
me and you are gonna
it,
get
it
along.
doesn't seem the pounds just kind of they just readjust. They move in different places.
I
So
I I when I fooled him crowd, by the way, beforehand. I had my jacket on when I was talking to him before the show, and then because I
mhm,
don't like the sound of Neumann rubbing with my jacket, and everybody knows. I've told the crowd 100 times, and they understand.
mhm.
That being said, I have gained a substantial amount of weight. I've gained 20 pounds over the course of the last 6 months. I don't know exactly what
Yeah.
it is. I don't know exactly. I
Wow.
can
How
put
old are you?
45, and
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the time. I mean, believe me, I before up until the age of 30, it was a struggle. I had to eat I ate 2 cans of tuna in like, for lunch, I had, like, 3 eggs and bacon for breakfast, and then I had a big square for dinner, and in between, I had my protein shake that I would be doing my stuff, and I struggled to stay above 155. And, then about 40, I was like, "Oh, look at this, I made it to 160." And then I'm like, "Oh, 165, yeah." But I'm not realizing that it's all like, brr, I'm just getting fatter. Like, 175, and then I realize, "Oh, wait a minute, shit's not fitting it would on a guy who's jacked. It's fitting like sausage."
Yeah, yeah.
So
I have an older brother that looks a lot like me, but he is about 40 or 50 pounds more of just muscle. He's a
mhm, mhm.
weightlifter guy, and he makes me look ridiculous. And when you stand next to a guy like that too, like they're really
Mhm.
thick, like to the side thick. You like
Oh,
stand
yeah.
next to him, and like me, I could probably hide behind a tree, except for
You
my
fit
nose.
behind him?
You know,
Yeah,
yeah. And these guys, no, no, the tree would hide behind them. They're like a constant
yeah,
Chuck Norris thing. You know,
yeah.
he's that kind of guy. Um,
Oh, yeah, you go to these book conventions and you see, like, the models. I saw, like, at Readers Take Denver,
mm,
there's this guy, he's like the daddy book cover model.
okay,
He's got the really distinguished, like, my gray beard is just, like, shit's white here, and it's, like,
yeah.
kinda dark here. He's got, like, the perfect salt and pepper beard, and his hair is all, like, perfect,
It's like who's that
and
country star? The country star, the you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold. It's like that kind of
Kenny
beard. Is
Rogers,
that is
yeah,
that is that kind of
yeah.
white beard? Okay,
Yeah, and this guy is just like, I'm heterosexual, but I was looking at him and I was like,
yeah.
I don't know if I could turn him down. I mean, it's like you see these models and they're like cut from a different cloth, and,
People
they just
are
they just
people in the crowd now are starting to name people. Kevin Davis, maybe. Uh,
could
I
be, yeah.
I would be surprised if Troy Averill. I would be surprised if Troy remembered the man's name. But he did confess there, I think briefly, and correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong, Troy, that maybe you would fuck him if there was, if the occasion met. Um, have you
Somebody
ever
that
heard?
good looking, I don't
Well,
think that's I
I'm
think
there
it's
with
like
you. I don't. There's nothing wrong
it's a
with that.
rule. Yeah.
Have you ever heard Louis C.K.'s bit on this, which is fantastic?
Mm,
Uh, the brief rundown is pretty basic. It's I really like the best of things. Like I the
mhm.
best of like the steak that you can get, the best weed that you
Right,
can get,
right.
whatever it is. And I don't know, I'm heterosexual, but the best dick, like if you presented like the
Even if you
best
yeah,
dick in front of
yeah.
me, would I try
It'd
it?
be rude not to.
Yeah, exactly. You got to try
Yeah.
just to see. Like, if
Mhm.
that one doesn't get you, then none of them will. You can almost guarantee that. I think. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
fantastic. But
There's a guy, so I did meet a guy, and so this guy at Readers Take Denver was, he was just, like, passing by in the hall, and, so I wasn't gonna fangirl over him or anything, but I did meet, this guy named Luke Eisner, and, Luke is on if you read any, Michelle Hercules, he is on a bunch of her books, and this guy is, like, you see him in a room. First of all, he's like 6'3" or 6'4",
yeah, yeah,
very
those
tall. He's
fuckers.
got, like,
Yeah.
long blonde hair. He's got, like, a handful of rings, and he just dresses like a rock star. And, like, he's one of those people, it's like he walks in a room and, like, like, you feel, like, some kind of, like, presence, and you're like, "What is something feels like cotton candy tastes," and sure enough, you look over at him, and he's like, "Holy shit, that guy is really pretty," and everybody is, like, the same, like, my and so he was the guy in, there's a like, a show on Nickelodeon called Tall Girl or something, and he stars in that, and I did
Somebody,
get to
somebody shouted out in the crowd. Thor. His name is Thor. Could
oh,
be, I
yeah, no,
guess.
that's
Yeah,
another guy,
that's another guy. Yeah, it sounds like
yeah,
same
who's
thing.
the other yeah, that's the, star, the guy who plays Thor in the Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah, yeah, different matter. A lot of, although
Yeah.
there probably is a cover model named Thor that does it. Sort of. Please,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah, I bet. Yeah.
They were very excited.
Yeah, so I mean, he's a very like he turned out we did this skit that was really cool. He's like really cool. We put the camera on him and I did my voice. And that was kind of like the thing. Michelle said, "Oh yeah, Troy, come here. You're my voice and here's my, here's the face of my books." And so I had him go on camera and lip sync with me. And so I said, I said, "Hi, my name is Troy Duran." And he's like lip syncing me. I said, "Hi, my name is Troy Duran. This is what I really look like. Trust me.
Uh,
Don't look it up. This is me, Troy Duran." And I mean, he's funny as hell. And he's just like the nicest guy in the world. So he's just like that, like Aevia, like
yep.
how can you be like so nice, so smart, and so goddamn pretty at the same time?
Lotta, I
But
love
he
you.
is.
Yeah, that's the crowd is loving this, by the way. If I could only make some sort of video of that would be my intro and maybe my outro. If I could have that
Mhm.
with some, I think maybe that's possible with the old AI thing that's coming up now. I've not
Oh
really
yeah.
played with it that
Yeah,
much.
absolutely.
I have friends that
Absolutely.
have. Are you into that sort of thing? Are you a techie at all? Are you
I used to be, I used to be the guy that everybody called, like, but when I was a techie was when like Pentium was the big thing, and like
DOS?
if you needed your dot matrix printer hooked up or you needed your modem to work, I was your guy. I could make it go,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
then like all of a sudden I just became like my dad where I'm like, I don't understand this. I just don't get it. Like, I can't figure out Discord to save my life. I keep getting these notifications saying, "You've got messages on Discord." And I'm like, I don't fucking know how to it, look them up. So I mean,
That's where
I
Discord's when I like I learned Discord and then I tapped out afterwards. It was
mm,
Facebook and then it was Discord. And after that I was
mhm.
like, don't give me your TikTok shit. Don't give me your no. No. Here's my flag. I'm done. Discord was a learning curve, man. That was not an easy task. I get you.
I still don't know. I mean, I don't know how to do it. I would like to. It seems like kind of cool, like you could invite people into your booth with you and like chat with them and stuff like that. But you know,
Some of my best you have different crowds in your life, right? So I'm not claiming that these people are like my wife or my fan, but they're some of my really good friends that I hang out with every day. It's like kind of our water cooler kind of deal.
hmm
I'm the background, basically. So I some of them will watch and watch avidly. Others will just kind of have me on in the background when they're
hmm
I don't know, when they're working or
Oh
doing
yeah.
chores around the house. I don't really, but
hmm
there's a typical, any given day, you got maybe 5 people hanging out, 10 people hanging out, sometimes 15, 20. I mean, just depends
Yeah.
on the day. Sometimes none, but
That's kind of
it's a
cool.
ton of fun. Yeah.
I think we forget, like, we're sitting in the booth. I don't know how many hours you spend in the booth, but I spend a lot.
Mhm.
And to me, it's just like I'm making the donuts. It's like I'm reading the thing, I'm doing the edits, I'm doing all this stuff. And I kind of like to me, it's like this is my day. But I think it's interesting for people to, to like get a glimpse behind the scenes and how the sausage is made, you
Well,
know.
and it's helped me through a couple of really rough times in my life, having a crowd. Now,
Yeah.
I've equated it to how I came into it. I was a
Mhm.
musician, and then audio engineer, and a lot of the things that I did as a musician early on in my life, it was a crowd. I did something and there was immediate applause.
Mm.
Or people
Mhm.
walking out. If you did really bad, that happened too.
But you
You'd
get
bomb
feedback.
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
like instantaneous.
Mhm.
I really like that aspect of it. For one, I this is an
Yeah,
awkward
but
thing to talk about. The
who's
sex
gonna, like,
scenes.
throw into the chat, like, while you're doing your thing, "You suck!" You That
You can
would
it's
be
what
really cool though, wouldn't it?
it's funny to I'll tell you a couple fun experiences I've had. And maybe you
Mhm,
can be the judge here. One is you'll see somebody jump in and this is fun for me. They'll say, "Oh my god, it's John Solo."
mhm,
And they'll hang out for a little while. They know who I am and I'm like, "The fuck, dude, I'm just a dude in Ohio."
mhm.
They know killer. Hang out, stay a while, please be my friend, chat a little while and they do. The second reaction that you get, a new person will pop in, they won't say anything, and the first either cuss word or dick comment, whatever comes out that, because
Yeah.
I narrate romance, and
Yeah.
a lot of it, that's gonna happen. It's
Mhm.
gonna they bolt immediately. They're like, "Ah, wrong room."
This isn't for me. Yeah.
And it depends too, and it's typically male sex as well, which will,
Oh, yeah.
some people are just absolutely not gonna. So, but
Yeah.
man, the ones that stick, some of my best
Yeah.
friends in the fucking world. It's great.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool. I did this, speaking of, like, people who, like, get up and walk out, there was, at this last convention, Readers Take Denver, which is really, really cool. Uh, you have to monitor your drinking because if you're not from the Mile High City, you're gonna get plastered. Uh, but anyway, that's another story. Um, but so I did this panel with Helen Hart. I don't know if her name is familiar to you, but um, she wrote really she's just an amazing writer, and she wrote this one series with the Steele family, which is a family of vintners in Colorado, and then she's got another series of this billionaire family, and I played the character of Rock. So we do this. So they had a panel where she and I read a scene from the book. Well, she decided she was going to like put me on the spot, and she did a sex scene. And this guy's name is Rock, and he's like just fucking cussing all the time. He's a biker, and so I've got a room full of people, and there's the podium over here, and the moderator, and like right behind her, unbeknownst to me, was this mother and daughter, and the daughter was about maybe 12. I didn't
Oh.
see them. They were sitting down. They're behind the podium, and like the scene
Uh,
starts, like the very first words of the chapter are "fuck this," and like he goes on and he's like, I don't fucking want to be here. I don't want to fucking see the people. And then I see like these two people get up and they just like walked right out. And sure enough, I mean, it was a little girl, and you could tell she had like barrettes in her hair, and it was terrible.
was she
Like I felt,
explaining to the mother on the way out what had hhappened, or?
yeah, yeah. I think Mom, I think he's gonna bone his lawyer. But it was yeah, it was like but after that it was, it was fine. But it was kind of funny that, like, sure enough, like the one panel that I do with a big sex scene in it, there, somebody's gonna bring their, 12-year-old daughter.
A few years ago, we have for Romance. There's the convention is it's called GRL, Gay Rom Lit.
Oh,
They've
okay.
last couple of years it's been in Virginia, and
Mhm.
it's a smaller convention. It's nothing the size of what you've been going to in like in Denver, like the Vegas
Mhm.
convention. It's not, but I'll tell you
It's
what,
a niche. Yeah.
and it's such devout, great people, just great crowd. So.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And which is where I met Avia before, in fact, and
Oh,
Reese
okay.
Knightley and others.
Mhm.
There's just super good people there. Um, a couple of years ago, we were in, I believe, I can't remember if this was Albuquerque or St. Louis. I think it was St. Louis.
Hmm.
Um, great hotel, whatever, great crowd, except that they booked us in at the same time as a group of Catholic priests. Um, and there's all these.
Oddly enough, there were some attendees in the panel.
And they're like all and they're like in their garb and shit too. It was such an interesting.
That's funny.
I remember to this day, and I can't remember. It was one of the PAs. I can't remember if it was Averill or who it was. They're like in the elevator, and they've got like blow up penises that they're taking downstairs to one of and
Father.
there's three of them in the hotel. You just imagine that. It's like a sitcom.
Oh my god. It would be really funny if like at least one of those priests had a sense of humor.
Oh, it's Charity. Charity. Thank
Mhm.
you, Trace. Yeah, actually, all of them are way cool. They were
Mhm.
fantastic. They were so nice. It was
Yeah.
not a single person got angry. It was a great time had by all. It was
Mhm.
hilarious, man. So you say you're in the basement there. We were talking when we
Mhm.
first came on about your setup. Have you had this booth long? Have you been working on this long? Did you have something else before? Is this a upgrade? What are you doing
Yeah,
with it?
so I moved in here in 2017. My wife and I moved in. She was not my wife at the time. We were just going out. Like we had a like a whirlwind romance. We met in 2015. Uh, Fell in love. Let's see. Yeah, see, we met at the end of 2015. By the end of 2016, we're looking for houses. 2017, we move in here. Um, 2018, we got married. We're like, yeah, we didn't let the grass grow under our feet. But this was the room that I took from the house. So it's in the
Nice.
basement. But yeah, I've got some work to do on it. You can see like there's a mix of control, like sound control things in here
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And when people like my goddamn neighbors, I think they've got it out for me because like this guy over here is going to mow his lawn. And then like when he's done, I start to read. And sure enough, this guy right behind me is going to mow his lawn. And then I wait for him to stop. And then I start to read. This guy over here is mowing his lawn. So yeah, I've got some work to do on it.
You're just gonna have to build a box in a box. That's what I ended up
Hmm.
finally. I went through that, and we had actors working in here, and I had a control room upstairs. It was an old one-car garage, and I'd blocked
Okay.
in the garage, so it was no longer like a garage door.
Hmm.
I thought, well, this would be good enough, and I built a lot of people will do it. I did it the a bunch of packing blankets, kind of packing
Yeah.
blanket fort, basically.
Hmm.
And microphone standing there, and it was you couldn't hear a lot of echo or anything, but the outside noise was horrendous if something would drive
Yeah.
by, and we're in the
Yeah.
country still. We're on an
Hmm.
intersection, and it happened.
Yeah.
A room inside of a room. That was we
Yeah.
were talking earlier, and I was telling you I'm no good at construction, man. It took me. I
Oh
read books for like 2 years trying to figure out how to do this shit.
yeah. Hmm.
People just
Yeah.
buy them.
It's like I don't know what a proper analogy would be, but I mean, it's one thing to like use, acoustic conditioning products to keep sound from bouncing around. It's a whole other thing to keep sound from coming in.
Oh yeah,
And it's like, I mean, it's like building a submarine. You really have to completely isolate yourself from the outside world, and it's expensive too because only like really heavy massive things can keep out all the noise.
yeah.
So
It's mass is so mine's a block room inside of a block room, and my block
okay.
room that I built inside the block room, I filled those blocks with sand, and then I framed
Hmm.
in inside of that. I framed in a wood
Wow.
room, and I filled that
Hmm.
wood with rock wool. And then
Okay.
on the other side of it, depending on where you look, I either have plywood blocking it off, or I have at least baffles. So at any point,
Interesting.
you got rock wool going on basically at any point except on the ceiling where I got the TLM 103 shit, like the not 103. Fuck, that's a microphone. The
That's your micro. So
Owens,
that I was
yeah,
going to ask you what kind of
Owens
microphone you have.
Corning, yeah, the
uh,
103, the Owens Corning board. I forget the model number of that shit now. It's way better than the rock wool though, and I've only got a little bit of it
okay.
because it was a little more expensive. But all
Yeah.
those things came with time though. Man, it was an adventure. But
Oh yeah.
mine, I will say, and the crowd can attest, unless it's a really like a big dump truck will go by, and sometimes the low frequencies will come through. Um,
Mm,
and we have
okay.
a neighbor kid that likes to race Mustangs now, like
Of
the
course.
cars. So
Yeah. Yeah.
occasionally when he's going by, like he'll set at the stoplight, just and it's
Yeah.
20 feet from my door. So
Yeah.
occasionally that'll
I
come
have a
through.
guy in my neighborhood who's got like a 350Z, and I mean he never like goes jetting around the neighborhood, but
Hmm.
you just like I hear him coming from a mile away, and so I'm talking, and it's like I have to stop, and you hear like a and then there's like a stop sign, and
Uh,
you hear and then then he takes off. So
yeah, it's like the vehicles. Well,
yeah, it's like
and with that,
there's that fucker, I see you.
so you said you had a Neumann as well, 103, is that right?
No,
Uh,
I have a M49V. It's it's a reissue of a classic mic. And let me show it to you.
Yeah, please.
I love this
I
microphone.
want to
It's
nerd
like
out on this shit. You know,
I am a huge nerd when it comes. How do I do this? Everything is
oh,
backwards. Hold on a
okay.
sec here.
Yeah, it's no problem.
People are gonna start. Okay, there's the bottom of it.
Okay. All right. All right.
Hold
I'm
on.
starting to
Let me see
see. It
if
actually
I
kind
can
of
get.
looked like a 103.
Oh my god, this is so difficult.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
so
is like when you were watching porn as a kid, is and you
yeah,
couldn't you like the channel would be over off the side. Oh, so
yeah,
it looks at
exactly. You have to look through the static. So yeah, so this is my microphone.
okay.
It's an M49V, and I love this mic. This is so it's a reissue of this classic mic, and like you look at uh, you know find pictures of Aretha Franklin or Barbara Streisand and Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley. That there was
Mm-hmm.
a big microphone back in the '60s, and they discontinued it for a period of time, and then they just came out with it, and I ordered it about a year ago, and it just came in like in January. So
Nice.
yeah, that's my baby.
Once you find one that fits your voice, it's
Hmm.
hard to like. I've considered occasionally, at times, I've been able to have like, okay, I could probably get a different one if I. But
Hmm.
god damn, I love the 103's warmth when you get up on it. For my voice,
Hmm.
it would sound great with your voice as well. You've got a deeper tone than me, but
It's
it's
yeah, it's when people I know a lot of people when they're giving advice and they say, "No, no, your microphone, there's diminishing returns and so forth and so." And I'm sure that that's true. I'm sure that you could get by with any number of microphones, and the barrier to entry to getting good quality sound is low. But I just, like having a great microphone means a lot to me. Like it's almost like, I don't know, Picasso could have painted with, a frayed, you know, piece of wood and still would be Picasso, but he probably chose better brushes. He had better tools for the job. And I look at the same way.
oh
But
yeah. And dude, there is something to be said about for me knowing
mhm,
that I'm sounding my signal chain is as good as I can make it. There's
mhm,
something that brings my confidence level up, especially I'm a fiddler. I'll go through and fiddle. I'm an audio engineer. It's what I do. And I always fiddle to try
yeah,
and make it just a little bit better. And there's something to be said, an appreciation for something that's just a handcrafted piece of beauty, a gorgeous
mhm,
microphone that's world class.
yeah,
You can tell you don't
mhm,
have to do much to it at all to tweak it to make it sound amazing. Whereas
right,
I've
right,
I've I've done this gig with lesser microphones and I had to do a lot more, and it didn't take
mhm,
it as well. So
yeah,
yeah, it's but I could geek out over these all day long. I love my microphone, and dude, yours is
yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. And the thing is, in an environment where it's picking up outside noise, being such a
mhm,
sensitive microphone as it is,
yeah,
it can be a goddamn. What I get now, worse than outside noises by far, and I don't get. You can hear this is a dead room.
mhm.
My stomach is the
Oh my god,
enemy. It's the
yeah.
I
No,
can
it's terrible, yeah,
you can hear what you had for dinner last week.
mhm. Yeah, and it's like it's terrible because in the morning when you're reading, like, like after my first cup of coffee, my stomach's gonna be, making noises. And then when I start to get hungry, it's gonna start making noises. And so then I have to go eat. And then when I'm done eating, I come back down and I'm digesting. And it's just
Yep.
like, yeah, sometimes it's just like, yeah, forget it.
I think I'm like a wizard. Like I think I figured out the magic formula sometimes, and I'll tell the crowd, I'm like,
Mhm.
I've got it. I've got it. It's this. I'm doing this. Listen, there's no gurgles today. Look at that. Woo! And like
Right,
three
right.
days later, it's like, or 3 days,
Mhm.
3 hours later,
3 hours
like
later when you're listening back, yeah.
it's never.
Well, I was telling you this story about my like we were talking about, sensitive microphones, and my issue. I'm 57, and I think that I've been to a few too many Ted Nugent concerts, and so like this engineer of mine sends me a message, and he goes, "Hey Troy, I've got this setting, to reduce some of your shirt rustlings." and I listened to it, and I didn't hear anything. I'm like, "It sounds
Yep.
fine. What's wrong with it?" And he goes, "You can't hear those shirt rustlings?" Yeah, sure enough, like, my hearing, I've got old guy hearing. I've got to depend on somebody else to hear that stuff. So now I like, when I stand up when I'm doing my narration, and now I just like, I don't put my hand in my pocket. I don't shuffle on my feet or anything because, I just feel like there's a lot going on that I don't hear.
Oh
So,
yeah. It happens to me. Um, just recently, I tried an experiment where I tried taking the pop stopper off of my Neumann. Um,
mhm,
I've got good technique, man. I've been working it a long time, and I know I
right,
cannot pop my P's on a sensitive microphone. I know I can.
mhm,
It's just a trick. I know how to do it. So, and
yeah,
I wanted to
yeah,
hear how clean, if it made a difference, if I pulled this thing off, and it
mhm,
a minuscule, yes, it
little
did. I
difference. Yep,
did a little bit. I liked it a lot. But Tracy, my lovely TNA, who rides along in most of my sessions, if not every single one, she's kind of like my live proofer.
TNA does not mean what I'm thinking it means,
Yes,
does it?
well, she has her own definition of it as far as that
Okay.
goes, but
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
fill it in. So she pointed out a couple popped Ps, like she heard them over Discord, live proofing over vMix, I guess, live proofing on me,
Wow.
and I
Interesting.
couldn't get them at the time. Now, keep in mind you're listening a time like I have really nice in-ears. These are like
Mhm.
$1,000 in-ears. They're custom molded to my ears.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
they're
yeah.
really freaking nice. They're like I don't know how
Mhm.
many drivers. They're perfect. I didn't hear
Yeah.
it along the way, and Trace did. So it depends on what's going on and what how you're listening and what you're. Are you a speakers guy or are you a headphones guy?
I wear headphones. Yeah, I've got a pair
Good.
of these Audio Technicas, that are pretty good. I used to use
Yeah,
Sonys, and, then I started using these Audio Technicas, and they're pretty nice. But I think
dude, I've got a
that,
bunch of these Sonys around. The Sonys
oh,
were great.
yeah,
I love them.
yeah, the
Yeah,
MDR-V6, right?
yeah, they're my backup. I love
Or
them.
the 7506, depending on what you're.
7506 is what I got.
Yeah, so I think the 7506 is the pro model. The 7506 is identical, but it's the consumer model.
Mm.
But the so it's funny, the like I get a lot more bass when I'm listening to this, although it might just be like I'm hearing myself through my chest as well.
Those Sonys
But
do
when
not produce the bass that the other headphones do. They just don't.
Yeah, yeah. And so my monitors, they sound pretty. I've got them like really close,
Mm.
because I feel like I've got a lot of bass problem in my studio. So I put them close to my desk. So I don't think that I hear every. That's another reason why I need to like work on my studio, because as I'm listening back, I don't think I'm really hearing what's going on
Yeah.
in my audio. So that might be a part of it.
Getting an outside opinion, I still
Mhm.
do that sometimes.
Mhm.
And I will go through and compare to the best of my ability with other narrators, just to see where I'm on track with. Um,
Mhm.
at some point, though, for me, at some point, I just have like I'm getting such. It is. We were talking about diminishing returns the other day. For mine, it's
Mhm.
such diminishing returns at this point because, and I can guarantee you, with you and your career and where you are, show me that microphone and just hearing you, I'm guarantee you have a great sound. There's no doubt.
It's probably okay. I mean, you would have to. At this point in time, I mean, your microphone is fantastic. Your sound control is very good, and so what's going into that thing is probably better than 90% of other people's setups. So
Mhm.
probably we're doing okay.
So
Yeah,
at that
but
point, it's just
still,
taking care of your instrument and that sort of deal, which I still do a
mhm,
lot of self sabotage with that, but I'm getting much better,
yeah,
much better. It's
yeah,
hard. I was a rock guy and all that fun stuff. I came with some bad
mhm,
habits, and I've like for me, I don't drink at this point.
mhm.
Every time I do, I break out in handcuffs. It's just a bad deal for me.
Oh,
But
really? Okay,
I,
yeah,
I, I but I hang around with a
yeah,
lot of people that don't have that affliction, and they have a great time,
mhm,
and I think it's fucking awesome.
yeah,
More power to you. But
mhm,
even like the vape. And
Mhm.
now at this point, I think I can say I've quit smoking, which is a
Mhm.
great thing. But you just,
Yeah.
it's like those little things that make the bigger difference at this point to me. Getting
Mhm.
enough rest, um,
Yeah.
keeping fit, like physically fit.
Exercising is a big thing, yeah.
Oh my God, just being
Mhm.
able to get a good breath, a good solid jogging. So I've
Mhm.
tried the jogging thing. You'd mentioned jogging. I
Mhm.
didn't know if you were serious or not. I've tried that. It hurts a great deal. It's
Yeah, I noticed that, like, I was talking to my wife yesterday. I said, "Does it hurt to breathe after you're do" because, like, I feel like my back hurts, like, when I'm running, and I realized that it's like I've got enough fat on my body that, like, 2 miles 2 miles worth of that shit, and you're like you I think the fat is just, like, pounding against your ribs, and, like, your ribs are like a, I don't know, it's like some kind of a BDSM thing where, like, you're you've got your fat going, "Yeah, baby, take it," and your ribs are like, "Oh my god, I can't. Oh, I don't think I can take any more." But and then by the time you're it's time to walk, you're like, I can't fucking
uh,
breathe.
oh
So
my God.
that's my experience
That's
with
it. No,
running.
it's a sex
Have
scene
you
with
taste blood?
your own belly, like when you taste blood.
That's yeah. So yeah, jogging is great.
Yeah, no,
That's
no, no.
fun.
It's healthy. That's I
Cheers. Yeah.
So yeah, I made a mistake the other day. We had gone to work out. My wife works out with me, and that's actually turned
Mhm.
out to be a really cool thing. Um, I didn't foresee that, but working out with her is a ton of fun. It really helps having somebody go along with me. And we have a
Mhm.
guy. He's kind of a trainer, I guess you would say. He walks us through
Mhm.
these workouts, and it's wonderful. I we decided he was running late, so we decided we were going to get a smoothie beforehand,
Mhm.
which was a dramatic. Do not ever drink a
Bad
smoothie
idea.
before
Yeah.
any for like.
Yeah.
And we go for an hour, and
Because your
he.
smoothie's sitting there in your stomach going,
Oh
"Okay, on
man,
deck any second now."
do you talk like it hurts physically, just hurts, and plus he's kind of you were talking about BDSM. He kind of reminds me. He's kind of a shorter guy, like 5'2", 5'3", and
Mhm.
his last name is I guess I shouldn't say that on the air, but it invokes a Viking is what it does. He's
Mhm.
like his last name actually sounds like a Viking last name, and he's like wide, and he's got huge arms. His arms are like the size of my thighs, and just like a big stocky guy. And I made the mistake of
"Yeah, have a
saying to
good
him,
time, yeah? This is
"The-
good. This is good. We are fun.
precisely,
We are fun. Yes, no, you should be throwing. Throw it up. Yeah, yeah, this is
and
good."
he makes his own workout stuff too. He's like
Yeah.
self welded, and he's like a BDSM dungeon kind of thing down there with the leather stuff and and he's hurting people all day long. It's
Yeah. I'm imagining, like, bars with, like, nails coming out of them
you're not
and,
far
uh,
off.
and he's having a good time. He's like, "Oh, yes, this is
Yeah,
good. Ah,
you're
yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
more and more burpee."
you're not you're not far off. And the great thing is I pay for it, dude.
You're a good
Fan
boy.
you've been a great guest. Please
Mm,
come back anytime, hang out. You've been wonderful.
absolutely. No, this is fun. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure I missed comments in here at some point. So if at some point you want to come back and look through them, that'd be awesome. We'll
Definitely.
put this up on YouTube tomorrow. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I am going to hopefully hit the correct button here, and this is the easy part. All you got to do is wave bye to the camera. Have
All
fun,
right.
guys. See you on Thursday.
See you guys. Take
Peace
care.
out.